Hey, family, I hope you're doing well. This is Ronald Zine, live and direct from the shamefreelife movement.com. Listen, if you haven't already, like this video and just subscribe to the channel. If this video was a blessing to you, then definitely share it with someone else. Don't keep it to yourself. I won't be before you long, but I certainly want to answer a question on the message board, and you can definitely reach out to us and reach out to me specifically as it relates to trauma, crisis response, but particularly the acute stress disorder that oftentimes we find ourselves going through. We don't know what it is. We just feel a certain way or we act a certain way, but it's there. It may be past, present, but it's there. And definitely reach out to us at theshamefreelife.com. That's theshamefreelife.com. And Robin, you did, and thank you so much again for reaching out. So I definitely want to answer your question in the form of this entire video, and hopefully this entire video will be very beneficial for someone else, but specifically tailor-made for you. But it begins to trickle out and stream out into everyone else's lives as we gather information for our one self, including myself. So this particular video is entitled "The Funeral After the Funeral." Yes, that's right. The funeral after the funeral. Robin, you mentioned, and I offer my condolences to you specifically and your family as it relates to the death, the transition of your father that meant so much to you. And you asked the question in this regards that everyone was there before the funeral and even during the funeral, but after the funeral, crickets, especially the one that you loved. So it goes like this: that Robin, unfortunately, like I said in the opening statement, that she lost her father and she had to take on the responsibility of burying her father. She had to take on the responsibility of all the administration and everything else. She only has a younger sister, but she's too young to really help in that regard. So everything fell on Robin. And so you're involved with this guy you've been seeing for a while, and you said that you felt that the walls were basically closing in on you. You felt overwhelmed. You felt like you were about to break or about to snap, and you just had a conversation with him and said, "Listen, baby, I just need some time. Just I'm not kicking you to the curb. I still want you. I still want us." But I've got to save me because I feel like I'm just about to lose it. Well, Robin, what you're going through is grief. You're going through grief. And there's so many complexities as it relates to grief. There's complicated grief. That's it's just like its name, complicated, without a bunch of scientific and psychological jargon, that there may have been some grief before. Now, you mentioned that you watched your father slowly dying in the hospital, in the VA hospital that he was in, and then he went to hospice and etc. So you saw him in various stages, Robin. You saw him in various stages of his transitioning process. So the initial response of you finding out that he was ill, and again, this is the funeral after the funeral, that you had to grieve that. And then you had to grieve the fact that now you are losing your father. You had to grieve the fact that now he's in the VA hospital. From the regular hospital, from the VA hospital to the regular hospital. Now you have to grieve. Now you're at a different place now, physically, the regular hospital. So now you have to grieve that. And so now the hospital, they said, basically, we have done all that we can do. So now, we're going to send them home, and we're getting ready to engage or implement hospice. So now there's another grieving process that you were thrusted into as it relates to hospice. Now, you haven't handled what happened in the hospital and that grief. You haven't even embraced what happened in the VA hospital. and thank you so much for his service as well. You haven't embraced that. So now we have three different places of grief that you have visited, yet you have not grasped the reality of being there and all that it entails and all that it takes from you. And then having to find out that he transitioned during a time that you were not in the hospital. So now you have to deal with the resentment of self. You have to deal with the anger of self. You have to deal with the anxiety around, I should have been there. Why wasn't I there? I can totally relate to that. Um, and so you have to deal with so much. And so there may have been some grief prior to that. So when we talk about the complexity of grief or compounded grief or complex grief, we're talking about layers upon layers of nothing more than just grief. And under all of that lies you and your healing. But we've got to unravel every layer at a time to get to the essence of you, to get you back to proper mental and emotional, physical and spiritual health. So this is common. Um, your significant other, you had a conversation with him, and you basically told him, from what you said to me, um, by way of letter, you said that, listen, I had a conversation with him. I told him I'm about to snap, not on him, but just on life. You just feel like the walls are closing in on you. You feel like you can't go any further. You just feel like, your whole world is ending, and you got to go get some help, and you're going to seek a counselor. Robin, listen, I am a counselor, and I am going through therapy. Okay. So every doctor needs a doctor. Every counselor needs a counselor. We all need someone. You can't make it if you are a lone ranger. So I just commend you for having enough inner and spiritual awareness that, hey, listen, I can't do this by myself, and I need someone to walk me down this journey and help me as I help myself um, regain my equilibrium, my balance, because right now you don't have any balance, you don't have any footing. And so when you said that you had that conversation with him, that he didn't understand it, he said, well, listen, can't we do this together? And you basically said, well, listen, I just need just this time alone to get me together. Then we can work on us. I'm not going anywhere, but I need to work on me. Now, second of all, I commend you for that. Because how many people are in relationships right now? We can keep it a buck for real. How many people are in relationships right now? We're not even discussing marriages. The ones that say that I do, I want to get, I'm saying I do because listen, I'm tired of being sexless. I need something like right now. I want to say I do because I don't want to let you go. You're a catch, so you got to be mine. I'm saying I do because of the security, be it financial, be it whatever you fill in the blank, your form of security. But how many people are in a relationship that it's not that the relationship is wrong, it's that something is going on right now that is, uh, let's just picture a ship in the middle of an ocean. So let's just talk about, since we're talking about relationship, let's just take the end of that ship, before we can talk about relations, and place that ship in the midst of the Pacific Ocean, in the middle of a hurricane category 5, a category 5 hurricane. And so that ship is out there tossing to and fro in the midst of the waves, tsunami like waves, rain pouring in, and the person in that ship, that relationship, they're taking a bucket and just bailing out water. But the more water that they bail out, the more water comes in from the waves, from the rain, and they're overwhelmed. And guess what? They're sinking. So that relationship now is sinking. to the very depths of the ocean. How many relationships are sinking because of the weightiness that is in the ship of the relationship, where there needs to be some bailing taken out? So, how does that happen if it continues to come down? There's got to be some type of stoppage of the rain. And that's what counseling does. What counseling does is it creates an environment, whether it's by medication or not medication, because just because you go through counseling, that doesn't mean that your assessment denotes the treatment of medications. It can or it may not. That is up to your clinician to make that decision, not Ronald Zion. But I will say this, that therapy, whatever form of therapy that you engage in, it is meant to stop the rain, to hush the wind and the waves, to bring a calm to your ship or your relationship as you put in the work to roll yourself back to land, to dry land. That's what counseling does. It stops the elements that makes it unbearable and doesn't make it feasible for you to survive being tossed and fro and getting ready to die or feel like you're getting ready to die. Counseling stops that so that you can do the work to bail out the damage and to get to a much better place of dry land. When you told him this, Robin, your significant other, you said that he became very indignant and he walked away, never called you again. Now, I find that to be very interesting. He never called you again, became angry about you wanting to get help. He became angry about you wanting to invest in you to become a much better you. Because the fact of the matter is, if he truly loved you, then he will want the best thing that you deserve for yourself. You know, the word of God, the word of Yah says that there is no better friend or friendship than for one to lay his life down for his friend. That I would want for you what I want for myself. So if I think so highly of myself, then I would have the same requirements as it relates to you. My expectation as it relates to you, and also how I'm going to help you become a much better you, because I'm in the process of becoming a much better me. And so when you become a much better you, when I become a much better me, then we become a much better we. But you said that he left you, became angry, and did not contact you ever again. And here you are, Robin, in the midst of grieving, because you're still grieving, in the midst of trauma as it relates to everything that you had to endure during the various stages and processes of his transitioning, and then finally his transition and how traumatizing that was. I know. There are many people that may start out in the blocks with you. The blocks, for those who understand track and field, you get into the blocks at the very beginning of the line of the marathon or of the sprint. So you're basically, well, not a marathon, but if you are a sprinter, you are in blocks because that's your starting point. And you have people that are all around you in blocks. But the point of this example is that you have many people that start out with you when they're sprinting in the Olympics, in whatever type of track competition that you have going, 100 meters. They start out with you, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to end with you. They may start out in the blocks with you, but that does not mean that they will be at the finish line with you or waiting at the finish line when you get there. The reality is this, is that Even though that Yeshua, Jesus, he performed so many miracles, cast out devils, laid hands on the sick, they recovered. He fed thousands and thousands and thousands of people with a two-piece fish dinner. There were only a handful of people with him at the cross of his crucifixion. Only a handful. Only one disciple do we see there, and that's John. Where were the other disciples? Where were the other 10? Because one committed suicide, which was Judas Iscariot, one of the 12. So there was one at the cross. So where were the other 10? They left him. They were in fear for their own lives. They were Romans' most wanted. And they knew that if they were found, they would end up just like the Messiah. I ain't going out like that. I'm gone. There were only 150 people in the upper room. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that Yeshua had thousands of disciples, that had countless followers, tens of thousands of followers, hundreds of thousands of followers, and only 150 people in the upper room? Well, that just goes to show again that there are many people that will start out with you, but that doesn't denote that they will end up with you at your finish line. You know, Robin, I also want to tell you this. I totally understand what you're going through. There are people that will be there um, during the funeral, and they will give you the cards and wonderful gifts and monetary tokens of appreciation, etc. Um, Dinners, send dinners over, coupons to get go to a restaurant, whatever the case may be, and that's wonderful. And thank you so much for honoring the life that was here and the legacy that is still in the earth. But after the funeral, that's when you'll begin to find who's for you and who was never with you. And I'm as I get as I become wiser, not necessarily as I become older, because you can be an old fool, or you could be a young wise man or young wise woman. But as I begin to become wiser, I understand that there are many people that may mean well and have good intentions, but they just don't have the emotional and the mental and the spiritual endurance and stamina and the stick to itiveness to remain there with you to the end. They're not cut out for that. That's not who they are. So, therefore, the quicker that we understand that and begin to place these people in their rightful compartments and compartmentalize them, the better off we are. And we won't have a lofty expectation that they're incapable of meeting, because they don't have the psychological capacity, they don't have the heart, nor do they have the spirit of the Most High in them, or the desire to stick in there with you for the long haul. So it's easy to, and I've done it before, it's easy to look at these people with an eye of resentment, to look at these people with such a grill of disgust and disdain. No, 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 no. That's energy that you don't need on you right now, Robin, because you have got too many demons that you've got to slay, pertaining to trauma, pertaining to grief, pertaining to loss that contributes to grief, pertaining to your own self-awareness. Where do I go now? Because all I knew was my dad. My dad, I was daddy's little girl. So now you've got to now rediscover your own identity in the midst of everything else that's going on. So that type of negative energy pertaining to individuals that were never, by all intents and purposes, never designed to walk with you down your journey to get to the finish line of life, let them off the hook. Let them off the hook. Consider it a blessing. Let them off the hook. I want to also address to you, Robin, and so many others that can get something from this, because I'm getting something from it for myself. Um, there are individuals, Robin, a second category. So the first category, those individuals that don't have it in them. They don't have the heart nor the mind to stick in there with you to the end. So just write them off. I can't get blood out of a turnip, so I'm just writing you off. So now you're freeing up space for me. There's a second category of people. We're still talking about the funeral after the funeral. Having to bury expectations. Having to now bury emotions and feelings that were attached to people. The funeral after the funeral. Category 2. There are people that are happy, are elated, are in love with you, can't get enough of you. I gotta have more of you. As long as they are benefiting how they want to benefit and when they want to benefit. Anything else other than that, all bets are off. Let me go a little bit deeper. I'm glad you asked the question. Now let me explain. As long as you, Robin, you were at a place of brokenness, thank you, Holy Spirit, and neediness of your significant other to fulfill the inner emptiness and void that was in you. As long as you needed him, call him, cling to him, he's taking you out. He's doing all these wonderful things, trying to get your mind off of it, which is wonderful. And that's what you need, but that's not the chief thing that you need. But the moment that you hit a brick wall and couldn't go any further, or a glass ceiling and couldn't go beyond that emotionally, now you begin to now gravitate to another place, a more solid place. It was almost like the Lord Yah himself calling you to a deeper place, as the word says that deep calls unto deep. So the deeper place in the Most High, the Spirit of the Lord was calling into the most deep, the deepest place or the recessive place in you, which is your human spirit. I need to do something in you that no one else can do. Will you steal away with me for a moment, for a season? Which is needful, because during that time, even in going through therapy, the Lord is there. Yah is right there. Even that time of you taking a walk, whether it's going to the mountains or going to the beach, or as what I like to do, go to the lake, the Most High is there, walking with you, healing you, showing you that he's there, surrounding you with his love to heal the fragmented soul and the scarred soul that's due to trauma and grief and loss. Those times are so needful. No one can duplicate that. No one can replicate that. That is completely original. And it's time released by the Most High from him to you. As long as you were leaning on him and allowing him to do what he is incapable of and humanly able to do within you, only God could do that, and yourself as well as your counselor. As long as you were leaning on him, everything was well. It was all good. But the moment you begin to say, wait a minute, I'm leaning on you a little bit too much. Listen, I need help. And the help that I need to get it from here so that I can apply it to be a much better me. And if I'm a much better me, then obviously I can be a much better me for you and I, for us. But as some people are like this, category two, they want things on their own terms. That's selfishness and that's immaturity. They want things and they want people on their own terms. They want you when they want you, how they want you, where they want you. They want things to line up the way that they want things. I want you now. Why can't this be this way now? Why can't we do this thing now? Because we can't do it now because it ain't time right now. Right now it's time for me to get myself together so I can be a much better self. Why do you want part of me? Why do you want a fragmented portion of me as eh, rather than having all of me, a holistic part of me, a holistic compartment of me, as opposed to having a fragmented or fragments of me or a part of me? But some people are just selfish like that. All bets are off when you decide that you want to move forward to be healed and it doesn't line up with their understanding, their perspective of how your healing should look and be. Your healing and your wholeness is your healing and your wholeness. It is not up for debate. It is not up for explanation. And oftentimes we do explain because that person or people around us are worthy of an explanation because we deem these people as part of our team. This is a partnership, and we're all traveling down this stretch of this marathon or this sprint to get to the finish line together because you are all my people or boo, you are my everything. So we're but they're not going to end up in the finish line with you. And how you can tell? Number one, if they just elect to say, hey, listen, I'm out, they don't have it in them to be with you. They don't have it in them to want the best for you that they want for themselves. They don't have it in them to be able to grind it out with you while you becoming a better you because they see the investment in you. Or the number two person, this person wants you on their own terms. They're comfortable with having a broken you, though they say they're not, but they really are because of their action. Their actions speaks much louder than the words that protrude out of their mouths. By him leaving you and never calling you again, my question is, how long has it been since your father has transitioned and he hasn't called you? He hasn't picked up the phone. Listen, I know, we're not talking whatnot, but I just want to know how you're doing. None of that. Some people, if I can really keep it frank, keep it 100, some people will show you that they don't give a damn about you. They ain't never gave a damn about you because of their reaction to what you decide to do to become the best man or woman for the Most High God. Who would not want that? Who would not push and promote that? For you to become a better woman? So I'm looking at it this way. If you're going to invest time to become a better woman by going through counseling and going through all these workbooks and or going to the library, finding out about grief and overcoming it to become a better you, if you're doing that to become a better you, I'm good. I never have to worry about you stepping out on me. If we married, I ain't never got to worry about no adultery. I ain't never got to worry about nothing because you are an honorable woman. You are an honorable woman who's worthy to be esteemed and exalted because you have the unmitigated gall to invest in yourself. And if you can invest in yourself to become a better woman for yourself, I know that that investment will trickle into this relationship so that I too can become a better man. So it's not just a better you, a better me, it's a better we. So listen, hey, listen, you take all the time you need. Hey, listen, we got to understand it. So you take all the time that you need while you working on you. Hey, guess what? I'm going to work on me. So we get together. Hey, listen, we have less baggages in a marriage. We're already going to have some bags, but at least we can have a cart full of bags as opposed to a whole airport full of bags trying to get on Southwestern, trying to get on American. No, I'm sorry, you can't bring all these bags on here. Oh, we have a limit. Yeah, we have a two limit. You can bring two carry-ons on, but that's about it. You can't bring anything else on this plane. Everything else must go on in the belly of the plane, and even that is limited. I'm sorry, but these 100 bags here, you know how many passengers we have on this plane that's trying to get to their destination without incident? You can't put all these 100 bags in the belly of this plane. It will weigh this plane down and we will end up in the sea. We'll crash and burn because you want to bring all these bags. Leave these bags where they are. And that's what you have elected to do. You know what? I've come as far as I could go and I'm leaving these bags behind. And I'm going to help someone. I'm going to get someone. I'm going to get someone to help me unpack and decide what is needful to stay and what is needful to remain here. And so I say all that to say this. And Robin, I really hope that I answer your question. I hope this has been a blessing to you. It's really blessed me. Uh, but the moral of all of this, or the storyline, is that even though that you may have people that don't have it within them to stick in there with the long haul with you, they just don't have it in it, or they just don't want to do it. Or you have the other person who they will stick in there, as long as you're doing it their way. And, as long as you're healing with them, as long as they're not the one who feel rejected. It ain't about you. It's about me. It's about me. But you also have, maybe you have one, maybe two, maybe three, but you definitely have one that will say, you know what, Robin, girl, I was with you. You my A1 from day one. I've been down with you. I'm riding with you, girl. I got your back. I believe in you. And you know what? Truth be told, I think I'm gonna go through counseling too. By you going through counseling after you lost pops, it kind of got me thinking. I got some things that I really need to talk about because some things happened to me when I was 12. Nobody knows, and I said I'll probably take them to the grave, but nobody knows what happened in that house, but me and the other person. I think I'm gonna go to counseling too. Robin, your bravery, your courage, and your tenacity in understanding what a huge investment you are will provoke others to do the same. So the funeral after the funeral, yes, there's the funeral of burying the loved one. But then there will be those who are at the funeral that you're going to have to take the responsibility to now get the shovel and dig a ditch because there are going to be other funerals, other friendships, other frenemies, other loved ones or the people that you thought that would always be there in your life. Get the shovel ready, because after this funeral, there's going to be another funeral of burying all of the dead weight. But the wonderful thing is that once that is buried and you have identified it, then now the Most High is going to elevate you, and he's going to resurrect you into his likeness, which is being shame-free, being trauma-free, and drama-free. Thank you so much, Robin. Thank you so much, Shame-Free Life Nation. Like the video, share the video. You can also, again, reach out to us at theshamefreelife.com, theshamefreelife.com. This is the movement, because we are on a mission to help others rebuild their lives one brick at a time. And also, go and check out what we're doing at pinnacleoutreach.org, pinnacleoutreach.org. 501c3 organization that is committed to help fathers who have children that are incarcerated, to help children who have fathers that are incarcerated reunite, and connected them with viable resources, but connected them with various skill sets that they're going to need in this life to succeed and to flourish, so that they can help to rebuild their lives one brick at a time, and to make a difference in every possible way and in every area of their lives. So peace and blessings until next time. This is your brother, Ronald Zion. Peace and blessings. And just remember that your life begins not when somebody else says so. Your life begins when you say so. Peace and blessings.